Hello everyone and welcome to my class. Now to continue with the second theme of class 12th history, that is kings, farmers and towns. In this chapter we are covering the time frame from 6th century, circa 6th century BCE to circa 6th century CE. Right, a very important time period. Now in this video I'll be discussing about the changing countryside and we'll talk about the lives of common people. Right. Previous videos I have discussed about the records or the information that we get from different sources about the political history of India, right? Which dynasty was ruling, how they were ruling. Lots of information is available from different sources, especially the written sources, right? But when it comes to the lives of the common people, from where exactly we are getting the information, this task becomes a challenging task for the historians because they do not get direct information about the lives of the common people. As the common people, they are not in practice of writing their daily experiences, right? Rather, no such records were maintained for them by the royal authorities or the officials or the any travelers. So when we talk about the countryside or the common people, when different dynasties were ruling in India during these centuries, very little information is available, and whatever the information is available, it is from indirect sources, right? So let's talk about these sources. The literary texts which were written during this time, like the Jataka tales, Panchatantra, these such stories tells us about the society at that time, probably because these stories have drawn inspiration from the society itself. Maybe the writer, they whatever they have, it's very easy for any person to write about such things which is commonly seen in the society. So such moral stories gives idea about the current society of that time, right? So very little information about the perception of the people about the ruler. See, prashastis, from the inscriptions, from the coins, we get information about the ruler's economy, his achievements, his qualities, right? Which may be in an exaggerated form presented by the writer or the poet. But what exactly the people think about their ruler, their perception about their ruler, such things can only be revealed through the information about the lives of the common people, how they were living under such rulers. So through these stories we get information about the society and what people think about their rulers. So here is a good example given of Jataka tales. Jataka tales are basically the Buddhist text which deals with the previous births of Buddha, and through story medium, various births of Buddha is described in Jataka tales. So one such story is given in Jataka about Ganda Tindu Jataka. These are the Jatakas, we can say, books. So in Ganda Tindu Jataka, it describes the plight of subjects of a wicked king, means people living under a wicked ruler, how they were suffering. They were looted by the robbers at night time. In daytime, the collectors of the king used to collect indecent taxes from the people, unnecessary taxes from the people, right? So such added a burden on the people, and they, to just to escape from such sufferings, they left their villages and went to forest to dwell, right? They don't want to live under such ruler. So these stories tells us about how the rulers of that time, they they focused on just filling their coffers, right? They just focused on collecting the revenues, collecting the taxes from the people, and least bothered about the public. So such thing happened, and such information we get from Panchatantra and Jataka tales, right? Now for collecting revenue, for taxes, uh, which the rulers used to impose on the public, uh, largely depends on the productivity of the soil, productivity of the crops, right? So for that sake, what methods, what strategies were used for increasing the production? We'll be discussing this part later, right? The strategies for increasing production, different strategies were adopted. First of all, this is a very important century when iron was discovered, and with the discovery of iron, making better tools, because iron is a comparatively very harder metal, and it becomes very easy for producing various types of tools, right, especially used in the field of agriculture. This led to the expansion of agriculture and clearing of forest, not only in Ganga Valley but in southern region of India also, right? So better tools and implements, the expansion of agriculture was possible during this time, right? And that strategies that were used was this was the time when the introduction of transplantation was done. Transplantation is a technique in which the breeding of the crops can be improved, right? So such things were used to improve the crop, quality of the crop, right? Now the expensive use of iron was limited only in the alluvial soil, or only in the good quality soil, right? But in case of the arid region or semi-arid region, like the areas of Gujarat and Rajasthan, in such areas the agriculture was not easily done. So most of the agriculture very basic tools were used, like hoe, right? Hoes, sickles, all these things were used, right? Now another thing which is which they used to keep in mind for improving their agriculture was that they used to prepare tanks and wells for irrigation purpose, right? Now agriculture, no doubt soil quality matters a lot with good implements, but irrigation is also a important factor. Reason being, farmers in India even today, they largely depend on monsoon, they largely depend on rain, but not in every area the rain is available all the time. So they need to depend on other sources of water. And so digging of wells and tanks for the irrigation purpose was done at that time. Canals were not commonly used at that time, right? And mostly the communities and the individual organized the construction of the irrigation works, right? Later on, such activities of the people were even registered, even mentioned in the inscriptions. Now talking about such activities in inscription, now these are the indirect information that we get, right? One such inscription, an excerpt is given in the book. It is very, very, very important from exam point of view, that I am going to discuss now. When we talk about the activities of common people, the activities of the community work, it is the information about such activities. We get indirect information, like one such example is of Girnar rock inscription. Girnar is in Gujarat region, and there is a rock inscription available, and an excerpt is given in the book based on that Girnar rock inscription. This inscription probably belongs to the circa 2nd century, right? And it tells us about the Sudarshan lake that was built in the area by the Mauryas. It was assumed, it was not assumed, but it is, the information is available in the inscription, but that the Sudarshan lake was built by the Mauryas, and later this lake the lake is having good embankment, but later a terrible storm struck the embankment, and it was destroyed, and all the water, it was an artificial lake, right? So all the water gushed out of the lake. So Shaka ruler Rudradaman repaired this lake, and for this repairment purpose, for this activity, he didn't tax his people. Just for the sake of public, he had done the repairment of this lake, because this was an artificial lake, and water reserved in this reservoir was used by public. So many times such activities were performed by the ruler for the welfare of the public, right? Then on the same rock inscription, there is a mention about in circa 6th century, that a Gupta ruler also repaired this lake later on, right? So such activity shows that not all rulers were bad or wicked, but there were rulers who do think about their public, right? So, and when they have done this for the purpose of the betterment of the society, and if the people are getting water from the reservoir, then they'll be satisfied with the ruler, right? So such activities, such indirect information tells us about the social well-being of the people, about how the ruler used to think about his subjects. So this is all about the information, the perception of the people about their rulers, and how the indirect information helps in constructing the history of a particular period. So this is all about this topic. Keep on watching my videos. Please like, share and review, and subscribe my channel. Thank you.